Hi, I'm Angela Salter, and today I want to tell you about herbs. So, why do we go through the process of growing herbs and then having them dried? Well, one of the reasons why is this little tiny bottle of organic rosemary costs somewhere between $5 and $6. And for very little cost and convenience of being in my own home, you can have an entire big jar of rosemary. So during quarantine, what everybody could be doing during quarantine, I went out and I picked a bunch of my herbs and I dried them. So today I want to show you what that process looks like. And now if it's the middle of the winter, it's raining and I don't want to go out and get my fresh herbs, I always have some dried herbs sitting in my cabinet waiting for me to use. So come with me and I'm going to show you around. Thanks. So welcome to the garden. The first thing that I always take with me to the garden is a pair of gloves and some clippers. So let's get started. So fresh herbs are wonderful to have around, and I'm just going to show you around some of my herbs. I actually have gotten to the point where I start putting herbs in almost every bed. And the reason why is because it keeps the pests out because of the smell of the herbs. Plus, again, if you want to come in here, you can see this is fresh basil. Really good when you're making any kind of Italian meal. And so today, this is what I'm going to actually cut and dry. But I'm going to show you around the rest of the garden, and then we'll come back to the cutting piece. So, if you can see, this is actually spinach growing up top here. But this is thyme, just in case anybody needs a little more thyme. It's actually thyme, not time. But anyway, you can see, look how much is here. And this would probably do, I don't know, maybe 20 different jars. And it's a lot. I mean, just to harvest it, it takes a lot of time to harvest thyme because you have to get every little piece of the leaf and not the stick in your thyme. Also, this is sage. This was actually just one plant that I planted a couple of years ago, and it comes back every year. It never goes away. So you can see it's just taking over and growing into the actual pathway. And this over here is Thai basil, and it is wonderful because the bees love it and it attracts everything. This is what's in the dryer currently that I'm going to show you today. So there's also parsley and other places, but at least I wanted to show you that I try to put some kind of herb in almost every bed. So you're gonna hear some noises. That's actually my chickens, and yeah, they're pretty vocal. Just like me, I'm kind of vocal too. But anyway, all right. So what do you do when you do basil? So the first thing is this right here is the seed pod. And I don't need the seed pods, so I cut those off. But since it's actually the end of the season, I'm gonna come in and really hack it. If I was just doing the beginning, I would just point a little bit of it so that it would grow back. But right now, at this time of year, once it hits cold, the basil is gone. It's the first thing in the garden to go. As soon as it hits, 40 degrees, it's gone. So I'm gonna come in, I'm actually gonna make pesto out of it, and I'm also going to dry some so that I have some sweet basil, just because it'll get me through the winter when I make lasagna or whatever, because I like to make sure I have some. So you just come in, you snip it, then we're gonna go into the house, we're gonna wash it, and then we're gonna dry it. So the first thing we're gonna do when we come in is we're gonna cut the seeds off. I like to cut the seeds and actually save them. And if you want to look, it's actually these little itty tiny pods right there. That's actually the seed. And if you save it, you can throw it in the ground and you can use it again next year. Then you're just gonna take a bunch of these and you're going to, after you get the seeds all kind of snipped off, you're gonna stick them in the water and you're gonna spray them with some veggie spray. You can use any kind. This is just the kind I like to use. Once you have that, you're going to mix it around a little bit, and then you'll pull the water out, and you're gonna stick it in the spinner, and you're gonna try to get the excess water out, just like you would with the lettuce or anything like that. Once you kind of get the excess water out, you take your herbs, and you're gonna put them on a paper towel. The reason for the paper towel is that it kind of gets rid of the rest of the dampness before you put it in the dryer. Now, you can sit here and you can pick each one of these leaves off if you want, Or if you want, you can just take your hand and kind of rub it down opposite direction of the herb and they come off pretty easily. Once you get the herbs here and they've sat and they've dried for a little bit, you're just taking the sticks off because we really don't want to dry the sticks. You take the leaves, you put them on this tray, this drying rack, and then we're gonna put them in the dryer, and when they come out, we're gonna put them in a jar. It's really that easy. So we're in my room where I do the drying, and this is a drying pan, and basically you take it, you put another mesh on top so that the dryer, it has a fan in the back and it's gonna blow everything. So we wanna make sure it doesn't blow everywhere, so I just cover it up, I slide it in, and then this one, when it's all done, is what it looks like. And this is what I did earlier, and this is actually Thai basil, and it smells so good. And it is just the right color, and you're gonna take this inside, we're gonna put it in a mason jar, and we're all done. So when you actually cook it, what you do is you put it in for the lowest setting when you do herbs, anything that's kind of a leafy. And you're going to just put it on for 10 hours and let it cook and come back out, and then we'll put it in the jar. So we're back in the house. All we do is take the screen off, take this out of the dryer. I have a mason jar, and this is a funnel. You put it inside the mason jar. You simply take it like this, you fold it, and you stick it in the jar. And you can see one entire plate full of Thai basil fills in a jar. So I probably have 4 jars here for today. You take it like that, you smush it down, you put on the lid on it, you put a label on it so you know what it is. And when you're all done, it looks like this.